Have you ever started a new job and thought, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for? Well, you're not alone. A shocking number of professionals in Canada are realizing that they've been career catfished, sold a dream role that turns out to be a bait and switch. Today, we're going to talk about how to spot those red flags, protect your energy, and stay aligned before you say yes. A recent survey by Monster found that nearly 80% of workers said the job they took didn't match what was promised during the interview process. In Canada, I see this all the time in recruiting. The job ad sells growth and flexibility, but once you're in, it's chaos, unrealistic workloads, and leadership that ghosts you after onboarding. And it's not always malicious. Sometimes it's a lack of self-awareness. But either way, it can feel like a betrayal. And it can mess with your confidence and your energy. So let's define it. Career catfishing, it happens when an employer or even a candidate presents a false version of reality during the hiring process. So here's what that can look like from the employer side. The job description promises strategy, but ends up being all admin. Flexible hours, well, that actually means you're expected online 24/7. And the collaborative culture turns out to be a toxic blame culture. Or worse, compensation changes once you're inside. And yes, it happens the other way too. Some candidates inflate their experience or their education. It destabilizes teams and it costs companies thousands in retraining or rehiring. So why is this so common? Well, post-pandemic companies are under pressure to attract talent in a tight market. So they sell the best version of themselves. HR wants to fill these seats quickly. Leadership wants someone yesterday, and job seekers, well, they're desperate for stability or growth, and they overlook the inconsistencies. The problem is when honesty disappears from the hiring process, trust breaks before it's even built. That's when you get high turnover, burnout, and resentment. In Vancouver, I see many people jumping every 12 to 18 months, not because they're flaky, but because they were misled about what they were walking into. And from a Feng Shui lens, your work environment has qi, so it's like energy flow. If you walk into a space that feels heavy, chaotic, or misaligned with what you were promised, that's your intuition screaming. Something's off. Misrepresented jobs, they create energetic clutter. You feel off balance, anxious, and drained. The energy exchange between you and your employer is broken before it even begins. Just like you wouldn't place your desk facing a wall with no view, you shouldn't accept a role that blocks your career energy. So, how to protect yourself before you say yes? Well, here's what I tell candidates in Vancouver every week. Ask situational questions. So here's some examples. How about, can you walk me through a typical day? What's changed in this role in the past year? Dig into structure. Who will I report to? And what are their leadership styles? Check consistency as well. Compare what the recruiter says versus the hiring manager. Are there any mismatches? That's a red flag. And research the company. Glassdoor, Google reviews, even LinkedIn posts. What's the tone? And just trust your gut. If something feels rushed or vague, just pause. Get it in writing, especially around remote work, compensation, and title. And don't ignore small signals. If the hiring manager is evasive, that's not being busy. That's a test you just passed by walking away. And if you've already taken the job and it's not what you expected, just breathe. You didn't fail, you were sold the wrong energy. So here's the Feng Shui reframe. declutter your space. It helps clear that frustration. Set new boundaries physically and energetically. And use this experience as data for what you won't accept again. Realignment isn't just quitting, it's learning to protect your flow next time. If your job doesn't match what was promised, you're not crazy, you're career catfished. Your time, energy, and trust are your greatest currencies. Ask questions, do the research, and never ignore your intuition. It's your internal hiring manager. And if this resonated, hit subscribe and I'll send you my free checklist. 10 questions to ask before accepting any job offer.